Okay, fourth graders, so what we're gonna do today is I'm gonna pass back your donuts. You're going to take the plastic baggie off. This would be a good time if you wanna make any modifications to like the general shape of your donut. If you want the center part of the donut to be smaller, you'll have to sort of like very carefully pinch it in, but you wanna make sure that there is enough room in between on the under layer so that the donut will have time to dry. So make sure you have a nice cavity or area in between so it's not super thick in the middle of the donut. Today's objective or goal is to decorate the donut. So if we take a look at lots of different types of donuts, you can create a glaze, you can create a glaze and maybe like icing, you could create glaze and sprinkles, you can just do sprinkles. It's totally up to you on how you want to decorate the donut. So I'm gonna give you a few ideas. The small baggie that we had saved is the bag that, or the clay that you'll be using for your donut decorations or frostings. So if you want to do a glaze over the top, what you're gonna do is you're gonna roll it out and you're gonna flatten it with your hands, kind of like a pancake. You want it to be really nice and thin. Sort of measure it out, continue to thin it out with your hands. I don't recommend flattening on the table. It's hard to peel it off of the table, the pressure from flattening it. So just try and do it with your hands, your fingers pressing on both sides. Once you think you have it, you measure and you say, okay, this is about the size that I want it to be. You're gonna take one of these tools. So there are lots of different tools at your table. You're gonna take one of the carving tools. And if you're carving out the center, you can simply cut a hole out of the center and remove that. If you want the glaze to be sort of like organic in that it sort of falls at different edging and not perfectly round, you can go ahead and do that at this time as well. So go ahead and create whatever outside shape you want your donut glaze to have. Once you have come up with the general shape that you want for your glaze, you have to do a method in order to attach anything to the donut, something called slipping and scoring, okay? So what that means is if I simply just lay this on top and press it down, what will happen in general is since these are two separate pieces, as they dry, they sort of dry as two separate pieces, and this layer will actually end up just cracking and falling right off. So what you need to do is you almost need to think of it like you're putting glue, like you're gluing this layer onto the donut. So what you need to do is you need to do what's called scoring it. Scoring it means you're making little marks all the way around. Now, what these little marks are doing are allowing for a little bit of water, not a lot, just a little bit of water to get inside the grooves, and you're going to do that for the donut as well, or the glaze as well. And when the water gets inside the little grooves, it moistens it, and think of it like kind of like a glue, to where it helps fuse and attach the two pieces that were once separate and are now together. So what you're going to do is you're going to score both sides of what you want to attach. You're going to take your finger, just dip a tiny bit of water, not a lot at all. And you're simply going to dot it just on the areas that you want, okay? So what you can see is happening is it's becoming, you're creating, this is called the slip actually. You're creating what is almost like the liquid part of the glue. Once you have got enough of the water on, you will lay your glaze on, and then you're gonna press down at fusing as much area together as you can. When I say fusing, what I mean is I tried to connect the edges together. Okay, so I'm gonna do that. I know you want around the outside of the donut, you don't wanna smooth those down too much, otherwise it's not gonna look like, you're not gonna see the different layer that makes it the glaze. So you're gonna press down and just in a few areas, try and fuse it, meaning try and make it like it is nice and connected. Definitely do it on the underside or the inside of the donut. Okay, so now I have a donut with the glaze. If I want to add anything else, like, yeah, I guess that's the glaze. If I want to add like icing, simply roll out very, very thin. You're gonna have to go really, really thin with this. Roll it out. And this gets a little bit tricky when you're doing your icing. So what you want to do is you want to maybe like create like a little path of where you want your icing to go. Because again, you still need to slip and score. So I made a little path of where I wanted my icing to go. Then I'm going to do the same thing with this. I'm going to create a little bit of a line. You can see I'm making mine, it's going to weave over, come over this way, back, and you're going to score it on. It's going to disconnect, it's going to come back. All the way over to the other side. Now you really want to make sure that you fuse the icing on. Otherwise, when you come back to receive your project when it's dry, this top icing layer will simply just fall right off because it will not have been attached solidly. Think of it again like glue to the next layer. Okay, so what you're going to do is go ahead and decide what types of frostings you want. If you wanted to add sprinkles, you will do the same thing with sprinkles. The only thing with sprinkles is sprinkles are a lot smaller. So if you wanted to add sprinkles, what you're going to do is you're just going to make little marks. You do need to make your sprinkles large enough that you can see, let me see, that you do need to make them large enough that you'll be able to fuse them together. Okay? And then you can always take the tools too to help create definition within your shapes. So today's job is to create any top layer. After today, we will need to set these aside to dry. So you need to get the top of your donut, all the decorations looking the way that you want today.